walking through this life of mine. Well, it's teaching me so many things, like how to love and how to lose and how to choose. Walking through this
Number 500.
Well, hello, welcome to the 500th Walking Through Life show today. I'm really pleased to have the guests that I have today. Most of these guests have known me from the very beginning of Walking Through Life. I know this one has. This is my darling husband, Ted, who puts up with me every single day. But then in return, I have to put up with him too, but I guess it works out even. So anyway, I also want to introduce Alice Nicka. Senator Alice Nicka, sorry. And you came the first year, and Senator Dick McCormick was here the first year. And then Bob Franzino, you were here.
Franzoni.
I always say your name, Franzoni. I do that just to irritate him, I think, because I've done it since I've started the show, haven't I, Bob?
Yes.
I have. He's been a good sport. I'm really bad with names. Haven't you guys noticed that? When I have guests come on the show, I don't know if I mispronounced your names.
You did fine.
Yeah. But when I first started the show, it's like, can you say your name? Because I can't, and I still can't pronounce people's names.
I am terrible with names, and for a politician, that's a real weakness.
Yeah.
Jim Douglas and Madeline Kunin alike were amazing for
Remembering names? Yeah.
They'd meet you once, 3 years later, they remembered your name. Yeah. I also have memory tricks to remember people's names, but they never work.
Yeah. I was going to say, people say Carbon. They say whenever they look at our last name, Carbino,
Yeah.
they pronounce it Carbino.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we anglicize names in Vermont. No, but more than once I've walked up to someone and it's like, "Hi, Wilbur," and they say, "Orville."
Well, Bob, you want to share a little bit about what it's like for you when I first came in? And I was nervous. I had to have
Want the
somebody with me.
Well, when Linda first came in here, we sat down and she had some really good ideas, and she was kind of shy, believe it or not. And she said she had some things concerns that she wanted to stay on air, and she wanted to do one show. And I said, well, why not 500? And so
He said he thought it should be a series. Yeah.
and so it was a series. She's done a great job. We've seen all over the state of Vermont. She's on the governor's commission for
Governor's Committee for Employing People with Disabilities.
okay, and she's been well recognized. And there is just one minor complaint that I have that
Get ready to bleep.
is that when we first agreed to this, that she said she would give us a dark chocolate after every show.
You said that was a
So the
requirement.
first two shows she did. So she owes 490 pieces of dark chocolate.
Yes, but the last time I brought you in, we got to have a court case on this, because the last time I brought him in some dark chocolate, he gave it back to me and said, "No, here, you go ahead and eat it."
My staff ate it on me
Yeah.
behind my back.
So then I stopped bringing it for him.
Do you believe that, audience?
No.
Thank you.
Well, I also want to talk a little bit about the difference it's made through the legislative and the Senate about this show that talks about so many concerns, not only with mental illness, but with mental illness or addiction issues, but also with like veterans issues or the flood. Irene was a big concern. And I think too, I like to say that the show, I think, has made it easier for people like myself or anybody else to be able to come forward and ask the Senate questions and maybe talk to you guys openly. And I just want to say that's a great gift. And the resolution you guys gave me, it was like I was on cloud nine. It was like you were telling me that what I was doing was not only worthwhile, but it was also my purpose, that I was going to change many lives, not only my own.
Yep.
So I want to thank you guys for that.
Well-deserved honor, and I would like to say certainly congratulations in terms of who could do 500 shows starting in the summer of 2006 and still be doing them and enjoy doing them, and having diversified the show a little bit from when you first started, and just making so many more people comfortable with media who weren't previously, and also just coming to the legislature and speaking of the needs of so many people that you advocate for. It's been great. So congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Alice mentioned how your show has diversified over the years. And I think that to me says a lot about the original mission of your show, which was, you were talking about recovery.
Yep.
It was a show using your own life as an example and trying to inspire people and bring other people on whose lives in one way or another kind of bottom out, and that it's possible to pull yourself back up and make a life and walk through life, you know.
Exactly.
And but it seems to me that if one is really serious about recovery, then we go to a point where it's not just about recovery, it's about everything else. You know, if you're really recovering, then you start moving back into the world as a citizen,
Yeah.
as a concerned human being. And so the fact that your program branched out into, I mean, I've been on here discussing what, Vermont Yankee?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, became, that show developed a life of its own. Because these folks were working with Mr. McClary
Yes.
and Ethan Allenist, and they started using excerpts from that on their website.
No
and then
way, really?
I rebutted some of their claims and went back and that show really had a life of its own. But I mean,
Yeah, I
that
kept saying that, you know, because it was so negative on that side, and I wanted to bring positive, and I can remember during the show saying this has got to be this. You can't clash. I mean, it's a discussion. You know?
I think we were very civil. We were very
I think
friendly.
you were, but
but it was a clash of opinions, which was healthy. But what I'm saying is that I think that is what recovery is that you finally then. You do not make a full-time occupation of your own recovery. You make an occupation of being a citizen and of dealing with all the issues and of having a show that deals with all sorts of issues. So
exactly anything. Yeah.
that's a real achievement, Linda.
Yeah, it's so much fun, and it's fun that it branched out. And another thing I like too is that I want to acknowledge Sue Skaskew, who does a show called For the Animals here, and it was just so exciting to me that I had her as a guest on my show, and this is something that she wanted to do
And thanks to
too.
you.
Yeah,
And that was her 600 show.
yeah, she's done 600 now. And it's Joyce. I mean, I just want to acknowledge you. So she was my therapist at the time, and her first thing was, you know, you're good enough. You're capable. This is your purpose, you know. And I got to say, out of all the therapists that I've had in my life, that she was one of the ones that really inspired me to do this in the beginning. And also, she helped me find my healing, my path to healing.
Well, on that idea of being good enough, you know, there's a folk singer named Greg Brown who has a song called "Just a Bum." And the chorus is, "He's afraid that he's just a bum," and it's talking about highly successful, powerful people, you know. But I looked in his eyes, and what I saw was such a big surprise that he's afraid that he's just a bum. And I think most of us, I as a state senator after 23 years, still have an imposter complex. I sit in my chair in the Senate and I say, when are they going to find out that I don't really belong here?
I say that all the time. I'm sitting at home, my jammies.
When are they going to realize?
I don't have my hair fixed, so nobody will recognize me at home, but they do.
I probably shouldn't have said that during an election. The Republicans will pick up on it.
Another thing I want to give credit to, too, is this guy right here, my cowboy at home, who puts up with me all the time. But I got to tell you one thing that Ted did that you don't find often, and that is that he openly talked about his illness, about schizophrenia, what he needs to do to keep himself well. And because he's done that, so many other people have been able to come forward and share what works for them too. And so I've got to give him credit, besides the fact he's married to me. All right. You have to put up with a lot, don't you?
Yeah.
I think that's particularly nice of you to say that at this point, and to kind of serve the community, you know, to serve the community out there, because there are many people who were, of course, displaced when the state hospital was flooded.
Yes.
And many people are finding themselves, if they, you know, some moved to Fletcher Allen, some moved to the Brattleboro Retreat, some to the Rutland Regional Medical Center, others to the Springfield prison, which is now considered, I guess, technically they say the state hospital right now, and other people who were in the community longer than they thought they would be, and other persons who have gone to the emergency room and have had to stay there, you know, in the emergency room sometimes for days in a couple of places because there aren't any beds.
Yeah.
And I think that for those persons who are feeling that they need some service, but because they know that there's a shortage of service, you know, they're out there in the community. And I think Ted's an inspiration to them to say, hey,
yeah.
you know, you can make it in the community, many of you. You know, you may need some periodic, you know, boosting up or some help periodically, but, you know, many people with schizophrenia are making it in the community. It's great.
And in the idea, too, of peer services, you know, because he can be so helpful, like you're saying, to people out in the community. And he has been. And I was talking to Kevin Christie, Representative Kevin Christie, yesterday on the show about teens and about young people that are growing up now that, you know, I mean, because there's such a stigma around mental illness. But I think we're working through that, and I think that people are becoming more open about it. And I mean, you know, I had a call just the other day because I did a show with the Commissioner of Mental Health, and I had my first audience. And she happened to see that show. She called me telling me about her son that had schizophrenia. And, you know, she wants to participate in one of the shows. And I thought, this is great because it's a parent's point of view.
Yeah,
you know?
it's wonderful.
Yeah, so I'm inspired to do so much more. You know, it's like, but I got to credit CATV too for putting up with me all these years. So.
Uh-oh.
I didn't say Bob. It's me.
No, it's been a pleasure putting up with you all these years. No, you've been an inspiration to a lot of us around here in your shows and dedication to show, and also the taking on editing, which is not easy for anybody to do that, and to take challenge upon challenge, which I think you would admit that she's grown a lot since the first year she came here, and the amount of people you help, I think, is worthy. You should probably run for the Vermont Senate sometime.
Okay, it's getting, wait a minute, it's getting too sweet here. Where's the sour part? Well, I don't think there is, you know, there's a little bit of sour in there. You know, not everybody you're going to please, and, you know, or not everybody that, you know, you want to make a difference with and help them. Not everybody's willing to be helped.
Well, I got to make a confession that the first time I appeared on your show, I thought I was being very magnanimous. I thought I was doing you a favor.
You were.
I thought, oh, this woman is trying so hard. Well, what the heck? I'll go on her show. And much to my shock, afterwards, for weeks afterwards, people were saying, "Hey, I saw you on that television. That was good." And I realized people watch your show, and they are drawn to it, and they're engaged in it, and they value it. And the first time was the last time that I thought I was doing you a favor. I'm on as a politician taking advantage of the opportunity to, you provide us a video op.
That's right.
So
you know,
that's
and that's one of the things that I like to do, especially with candidates. And I was saying that to Kevin yesterday, is because I don't think that the people that sit home and watch TV all the time get to know all of you. And this is a great way for them to get to know everybody that's running, so they can make an informed decision and hopefully go out and vote. Because I did, I think it was the last time I did a campaign for go out and vote. Let's see how many we can get you to vote. And I went out and talked to everybody. And there was quite a few people that actually decided they were going to register and start voting.
Yeah.
It was great, you know. I want to keep that up and keep people doing that, you know.
So we might just want to say, so that everybody knows who's watching, that if you're not registered to vote, you still can until the end of October.
The end of October, yeah.
And, you know, it's changed a little bit from the old days now. You can actually administer the Freeman Oath, which is the oath that you have to take in Vermont to vote. You can actually administer it to yourself now. You don't have to go before a notary, or you can do it before another person who's 18 years or older. So it's a lot simpler now to do, and, you know, you don't have to find a notary public to do it. So I do hope that people will vote, because everybody should have a say.
That's right. And not only that, a lot of people say they don't vote because they can't get out. And so absentee votes, one of the, and a lot of people say they don't know the candidates. So I'm often going to say, you know, you can go to the internet, because TV, you know, you can see little blips, but you're not really getting to know, who the candidates are, except for if you're doing this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's why this is so important for me. And I got to tell you, I actually did start doing the show from Tuber Hall. It was for the comedy night. I got to tell you, I had more fun with that, going to meet everybody there, and they're going to have it opened again.
Wow.
I guess the first comedy show is going to be November 23rd, but I'm going to go to that. And then the last show I did, I took the camera out to do, because I often do that too. I did the Revolutions fashion show they had. Oh, that was wonderful, yeah. And I wore this, and everybody asked me if I was coming to the fashion show.
This is the brightest dress I've seen in a long time.
Well, hey, it's
great.
a bright celebration.
It's great. It's great. And it kind of goes with this
Yeah.
picture that you did, which
Yeah.
is very impressive.
Yeah, you know, I like to draw, and that's one of my tools. And you know, Joyce shared with me that, you know, because when I first started drawing, it was like, I don't know if I really like it. And she looked at it and she goes, you know, I really like that, you know. And you know, not to say what happens between a therapist and a client or whatever, but she was one of the ones that, you know, when I started writing and I'd keep scribbling and, you know, that doesn't sound good, she'd look at it and she goes, do you know how good this is, you know? So it's kind of like having somebody that really believes in you. And then going one step forward, like putting the article in the Vermont Psychiatrics. What's the name of that?
Connections.
Oh, Connections.
Yeah, it's a
Connections.
newspaper. And then, to my surprise, I won second prize, and it was like, I was like thrilled. You just remember I shared with you.
Oh, I
didn't know how to
certainly
read and write.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thank goodness for the Turning Point that took the time to teach me.
Isn't that great, you know?
Well, having someone believe in you, I've actually I've mentioned this
It is,
on the
yeah.
Senate floor, that my father's way, when I was a kid, when I was a little boy, my father's way of telling me I had done something stupid, because kids do occasionally do something stupid, and they probably do need to be brought up short.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you don't want to just. There are kids now who are getting so much self-esteem boosting that they can't conceive of that they're anything less than perfect. You know, they're special selves. But on the other hand, we've all heard a parent say to a kid, you know, you stupid ass. How could you have done something so
yeah.
stupid? You know?
Yeah.
And my father's way of telling me I had done something stupid was to say, Dick, I expect better from a boy of your exceptional intelligence. And it was a double, you know, he made it very clear that what I had done was stupid. But the underlying message was that I had exceptional intelligence. I'm one of the few people I know, most people, when they take an IQ test, when they find out their score as an adult, they always say, gee, I was surprised at how high it was. You know, my parents put me down, my teachers put me down. I didn't realize I was so smart. I saw my IQ score and I said, that's all? Because I thought I was up there with the smart kids, because that's what my father had. Having someone, also I did music for much of my life, and
Yeah, you can tell.
I remember in Boy Scouts I wanted going over what merit badges I could get. And my father said, why don't you do music? I said, well, I don't really, you have to learn how to play a musical instrument. He said, well, you play the guitar. And I said, well, not really, I just strum a few chords, Dad. And he said, I didn't say you're a virtuoso. I said you play the guitar. It's a musical instrument. You know how to play it. Give yourself credit. So it's that having someone, you know, encourage you, and not pretty talk.
Yeah.
Actually recognizing that, you know, you do have something to offer and telling you go for it.
Yeah, because it was always with me, it was always the negative talk saying, you know, or they're just saying that. They're just saying that. I always said
Didn't
that.
feel it
They're
was
just
true.
saying- Exactly. No, I didn't feel it was true. But one of the amazing things that I got too from moving on and learning is, you know, the teachers say, okay, we can't educate her. The doctor says she's going to be disabled the rest of her life. And my mission in life became to learn to read and write and prove them wrong. And now it's you know, it's overcoming disability so that, you know, they're wrong. You know, maybe they thought they were right, maybe they were convinced they were right, but I'm not. So I'm going on doing what I want to do. So
Linda, what was there in you that
finally,
what's the beginning of all of this? We can talk about how you pulled yourself up and who helped you and what the various aspects. What was it in you that made you not buy into the negative stuff? That
well,
made
I
you
did
say,
for years.
yeah, but
you mean, what was it that changed?
something made you turn around.
You're not going to believe this because I was taking care of my mother and her boyfriend. Her boyfriend had cancer, and it was just before my mother got diagnosed. And I went up to stay with her. I'm walking down the road, taking walks every night, and I'm saying to myself, "Gee, I wish I could be more help. I don't think I'm being helpful enough," and so on and so forth. And I went down. You know where the tannery is in Lebanon? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I went down by the little ballpark there, and in the back there was some bushes, and I went there, you know, and just stood and just took a deep breath, and I noticed there was an empty cigarette pack there, and there was a beer bottle, and then down here you could see the opening where, you know, there was actually scum coming out or whatever. And I looked at that and I just said, wow, what a mess. And a light bulb went on. It was like, wow, that's my life, you know? So I just grabbed myself, I had myself, and I said, how can I change my life? Or what can I do to change so that I can help others? And it was like the sky opened up, and literally, I mean, you know there wasn't a voice there, but there was to me, because the sky opened up and it was like, Linda, you need to heal your life before you can help anybody else. And that was like the spiritual awakening. And it was weird because there was so many years, there was so much darkness here, that the sky opened up. I saw a mother duck and 5 ducklings in the pond. I saw the waterfall that, you know, from the tannery there that I didn't see before. On the side, I see these beautiful flowers that are growing. And it was like, all of a sudden, my life began. It began at that moment.
Have you written that?
Yeah, I have. And I think that was, you know, kind of like the first one that I wrote about agoraphobia. And on the same idea, that agoraphobia is, there's this darkness and there's not, you know, it's like a cage, you know. And by getting out and following your butterflies and following your path, this is how we change our lives. And I'm not the only one that's done this. There's so many other people. But I think sometimes people have a problem communicating it, saying, this happened. Wow, how exciting, you know.
Yep.
Yeah. And it was like when Ted and I got married, huh? Yeah. He was the best guy I ever met, I swear. Did I ever tell you about how I met him?
No.
No? Oh, we were both going to HRS up here, right?
Yeah.
And some of my case manager told me, you know, because I just moved out from my ex-husband, which was a bad relationship, moved into my own place, but they thought I needed a friend. So they told me about this guy named Ted, you know, just somebody to hang out with, you know. And I said, nah, I'm not interested in meeting anybody. But I go the next day to see the doctor, and I'm standing on the porch, and here's this guy sitting on the little, what is that, like a ramp?
Yeah, right.
He was sitting on the ramp there, right? And he's just kind of like this, and all of a sudden he goes smiling, you know. And I said, well, hello. I said, my name's Linda. What's yours? And he kind of winks at me, and he goes, my name's Ted. Just like that. My name is Ted, you know. He had long, curly hair. So I kind of smiled to myself, and I said, this must be who it is. And I said, you know what, Linda? There's nothing like being brave. Ask him out for pizza. So I did. I asked him out for pizza. And the reason I did is because, you know, I knew I had to move on from that and just start anew there. But the problem is, we went out for pizza. He came the next night to come visit me. He never went home. He lived on my couch.
Wait, do we need to know this?
He stayed on the couch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, until finally we decided we were going to get a place together. And then he kept asking me to marry him. He kept asking. And I kept saying, I'm not going to get married again. I had such a bad time, you know. And then I had a friend that was dying for cancer. And she goes, Linda, do you love him? And I said, well, of course I love him. Life short. Marry him. So I went home. He was painting the bathroom. I come in, laying on the couch, paint all over him, right? So I said, Ted, you have to make an honest woman out of me in 2 years. And he goes, what do you mean? And I said, you got to make an honest woman out of me in 2 years. What's that mean? I said, you have to marry me in 2 years. And he just popped off the couch and he stood right up and he goes, why wait 2 years? I said, okay, a year. Why wait a year? And I said, because you gotta, you know, have a year to plan a good wedding. And on the phone he's got more family than I have. He's got so much family. He was on the phone, I swear, for how many hours?
Couple.
Yeah. I get married. Yeah, it was just on and on. And so we had the best wedding. The only thing bad that happened at the wedding was that the cake fell. We were standing there. We were going to cut the cake, but everybody had a camera. So as we're cutting this cake, and all of a sudden the cake starts going like this. They got pictures of it just going down, and Ted's down here like this trying to catch it, and I'm at people going like this because I thought it was just so funny.
Oh my gosh.
And then during the dollar dance, he got all the dances. Nobody wanted to dance.
Yeah, $35.
I had a few.
You got
Did you
But
buy
this-
a cake?
Well,
This
it's an
is the
old
love of my
Irish.
life.
It's an old
Yeah.
Irish proverb that the
Yeah.
cake falling is good luck. You know?
I think so. We've had
I
a
just made that
wonderful.
up.
We've had a wonderful marriage, wonderful life. I think we grow more in love each day. We have pillow fights every night. Yeah. And I beat him in Yahtzee most of the time. Sometimes he beats me though.
Dad, she cheats.
Right. No, no.
My lovely wife Cindy beats me so badly in Scrabble that I actually don't enjoy it. Because I know there's no possible. I have never ever won a round of Scrabble with her. So.
I think my favorite part with Ted is the pillow fights. I don't like the tickling too much because I'm the only one that's ticklish. He's not ticklish. So.
That's an
But I
unfair
do like the
advantage.
pillow fights though because I can really get him good.
Elvis Presley liked pillow fights too.
It's fun, you know. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
well, you should videotape that. You should
Yeah, that'd be fun, but
yes. Pillow fights at the Carmen house.
Yeah, but one of the message I want to get out too is that, life isn't always perfect. It's not. We have our ups and downs, when we have mental illness, sometimes the downs really hit home, Me, because I remember I felt like I was doing really well and then had like a slip back, but it didn't last long. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's one of the messages Ted had was that, I'm doing well, but sometimes the schizophrenia gets bad where I need to go to the hospital and get medication changed. And I say the same thing. And if you're aware of that and you're able to see that might be necessary, doesn't mean you can't live a nice, normal, beautiful life and have a purpose and do something with your life.
Well, I think one thing we all can be thankful for, that you're doing the shows, and you bring new guests in all the time.
Oh, thank you.
And I look forward to another 500 shows next year.
Next year?
Yes.
I think it's going to take a little bit more than that.
I just always have high expectations. But also Linda was also on our CATV board of directors, and she's a Hartford representative to our board, and she doesn't let anything go by. And so I think she's come a long way.
We need more board members.
You've come a long way, baby.
Oh,
Famous.
I know that, Dick, you're going to sing us a song in a minute, but does anybody in the audience have a comment or a question that they would like to? There's one over there, the audience member over there.
I would just like to say that I think you've used the word purpose several times today, Linda. And from the first moment I met you, that's the one thing that you didn't say. And so sitting here today, watching you and hearing you say purpose, and I want other people to have a purpose, that is the greatest gift you could have given me today. Asking me to come here and to hear you say that word purpose, that is a gift. And I do know how many people, like you said, Dick, I do know, I get calls all the time about people that have watched your show or some little piece of your show. People I don't even think would watch a show have watched that and it has touched them. And it's not always the things I think are going to touch them that touches them. So I just want to say thank you for being here and doing this show. And boy, I tell everybody, oh, you got to watch that show.
I know you do. I want to just say a secret little message to you, too. Thanks for the fun with the teddy bears.
Oh, I love teddy bears.
Anybody else want?
Yeah.
I'd like to echo that, Linda, but I've also seen you on stage, and your personality is so vivacious. You are out there and you entertain, and I want to thank you for also encouraging for the animals to do a show, because it wouldn't have happened without you. So thank you.
Thank you.
And keep on going.
Oh, I will.
Well, thanks. Linda and I have known each other for a pretty good while, and it's been really great to watch you grow, and that's what we all do, and it's just been incredible. And I feel very proud, to be here, like with you and be asked to be here. I know we were evading each other for a while, and I don't know if it was just plain camera shy or what. But
You might have been camera shy, but I don't think you are anymore, right?
Right, we're all set now, right? But I know the effect that you've had on so many people, especially those folks in recovery. and and that's a very special gift to be able to give folks, and keep up the great work.
Oh, thank you. Have you got a tune you're going to sing us?
I'd be happy to. Sure. For people who are interested in old instruments, this is, I'm not sure how old this is, but it's pre-1955 anyway.
That's old.
Old Epiphones at the time were not considered particularly great instruments. Sort of the poor man's Gibson, but over time they've been more appreciated. Although I don't really do an awful lot of guitar in this song, and this is just a little background. I've been doing a lot of research recently on topical songs not from the 1960s. People think that they sort of invented the quote-unquote protest song in the 60s. In fact, for most of history, most songs have been about everything. When you name a topic, there's a song about it, and that included political and social issues. In the 20th century, pop music decided that the only thing to write songs about is romantic love. And otherwise, so that when they started in the 60s writing songs about other things, then it was, oh my gosh, what is this? And so they made up a new name, the protest song. But in any case, this is, I'll do a couple of these for you. Oh dear, what can the matter be, dear, dear? What can the matter be? Oh dear, what can the matter be? Women are wanting to vote. Women have husbands, they are protected. Women have sons by whom they're directed. Women have fathers, they're not neglected. Why do they all want to vote? Sing with me. Oh dear, what can the matter be, dear, dear? What can the matter be? Oh dear, what can the matter be? Women are wanting to vote. Women have homes, there they should labor. Women have children, them they should favor. Women have time to snoop on the neighbors. Why do they all want to vote? Oh dear, what can the matter be, dear, dear? What can the matter be? Oh dear, what can the matter be? Women are wanting to vote. Women have reared the sons of the brave. Women have shared in the burdens they gave. Women have labored this nation to save, and that's why they're going to vote. Oh dear, what can the matter be, dear, dear? What can the matter be? Oh dear, what can the matter be? Why should men have all the votes? Women are going to vote.
I bet you get on votes when you sing that.
Some people take it literally. They're offended by it. Yeah. You want another?
Sure.
Okay. This song has a great political message, but it's almost impossible to sing. The lyric writer was clearly more of a union activist than a lyric writer, but I'll do what I can. When the union's inspiration through the workers' blood shall run, there can be no power greater anywhere beneath the sun. Yet what force on earth is weaker than the feeble strength of one? But the union makes us strong. Here's the chorus. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. they never toil to earn. But without our brain and muscle, not a single wheel can turn. We can break their haughty power, take our freedom when we learn that the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. The union makes us strong. In our hands is placed a power greater than their hoarded gold, than the might of armies manufactured 1,000-fold. And we can bring to birth a new world from the ashes of the old, for the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. The union makes us strong. And there I proved that it's hard to sing. I got a little tongue-tied. That's a great part of our country's history. So anyway, there are lots of great songs in that. I didn't even get into the abolitionists and the,
So is that what you're going to be doing that?
Well, by the time this show airs, it'll be
It'll be
too
all
late.
over.
Yes, but as I leave here, I'm going to go to Woodstock to do a program with Bob Horan, who's very good, and people should watch out for him. Good folk singer of topical songs.
Yeah, and it's just so nice to know that we've communicated and had other people come on the show and been able to talk to everybody and all of that. It's just wonderful. It's wonderful to have an audience. This is the second time I've had an audience.
You've had big audiences out there.
Oh, I have, yeah. It's like John Campbell always say, you're the Oprah of Vermont. I really took that serious, you know. I had to do that. But I also like to have fun. I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever seen when I just put on a little Tim Breck and come out here and dance. I've done that. Yeah. Nothing like, you gotta be free to do what you want to do, and I can't sing, but I do like to dance.
Years ago, I had a friend who anytime she would be tempting me with, say, a White Russian, and I would say, oh, you know, that's 3,000 calories in that. You know, I don't know. She would say, honey, you're going to be dead for a long time.
Well, that's right. I do have
Not
chocolate
now,
cake.
when?
Oh, that's right.
I have cake. I have chocolate cake too.
Yeah.
You had chocolate.
That's what Bob always says. And I don't want to forget, I know she doesn't want to be on camera, but my friend Debbie is here, so that's nice.
Hey, Debbie.
Hi, Debbie.
Debbie's my neighbor, and
Oh, nice.
she's just like a sister. So I want to acknowledge her being here.
Glad you came to share the day.
I know. Well, you know, it's funny, the last time, I gotta tell this story. The last time she came to be in the audience, I won't say who, but one of the candidates were here, and so I'm talking to him, right? All of a sudden you hear this real loud. She was snoring like crazy.
Did that candidate win?
No. No, wait a minute. The election hasn't happened yet. I don't think it's going to happen. Not right away, anyway. No, I'm sure it would. No, the idea was that there was, well, they're not in the election anymore, but anyway, there was a security guard was here, and Debbie was here. Is that weird? Or? Yeah, so she's just snoring away, and I'm like,
It happens occasionally in the State House.
Does it?
Once in a while, and boy, people better be careful because usually a photographer will catch them.
I'm like after the show, I'm like, Debbie, did you know I could hear you? But she falls asleep with everything. Like we could be watching TV at night, right at the good part of the show.
When I taught Vermont government in the state college system, every course, every student gets to do a critique of the teacher. And several of my students after my Vermont government course, they said, it's a good course, but the instructor gives us too many of his war stories. You know, when I was in the legislature, but I'm going to give you a war story now. the Franklin County delegation, I think I can actually use real names because it's 20 years ago. Francis Horrigan and John Finn were the two senators from Franklin County, both Democrats. But they didn't particularly like each other. And Francis Horrigan was a great old guy in many, many ways. But although most of his great quotes I can't say on the air, but privately he was great fun. Real crusty old guy, you know, and one of maybe the last real dairy farmer in the Senate. But and Finn was more of the Irish Labor Union Railroad St. Albans kind of Democrat. Anyway, we were doing a roll call vote, and it was quite clear that Senator Horrigan had fallen asleep. And it wasn't just nodding out. I mean, his head was back, and he was snoring audibly. His mouth was wide open. And he was on the end, so the only person sitting next to him was Senator Finn. And we kept looking at Senator Finn to elbow him, like to wake him up. And you realize that Finn was just sitting there like, and then you wonder, did he notice? Except he was glancing over at him, so he knew. And finally, the poor Bob Gibson at the time, the Secretary of the Senate, is going through alphabetical order, and Horrigan's fairly early, but he's doing it louder than usual. And finally, he hesitates and looks at Senator Finn. Are you going to elbow Horrigan? And finally, Senator Horrigan? Senator Horrigan! No!
I got a story to tell you about Ted. And just to give everybody a laugh about this too, because I remember it was early on. It was one of the times that Senator John Campbell came to do a show, and afterwards, him and Ted were out in the hallway, and so I just happened to go by, and I says, "Oh, so what you guys doing?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm just talking to him." So all of a sudden, you hear, "I got a piece of rice for you, John." And he goes, "What's that?" And Ted goes, "Don't ever take Viagra." Yeah, you talk about, and John was just like cracking up, like he couldn't stand it. He was walking down the hall, cracking up, and I'm going, Ted, you can't do that. Or the first anniversary we had here, we had the cake or the governor's picture, and he's here.
Yeah.
Kids over here even used to take, and all of a sudden, burp. You can't take it nowhere. I swear. But that's what I love about him.
Above all, be yourself.
I know, because he is. He is, and it's just so funny, some of the things he comes out with. It's just, that's what I love about him now. Yeah. So I just got to give credit to my little darling here.
It's great.
And the guy that wrote the song, Tim Brick, would have been here today, but his car broke down, but he's going to be coming back later. But
That's what happens to guitar players.
Yeah, I know. He said he's getting a new one. He was pretty upset. Yeah, because he wanted, but he would come down a little.
Yeah.
But he has been at the State House. He's sung at the State House.
Mm-hmm.
Kim Burkett. He's quite famous around Vermont now.
Well, you got a lot of famous cohorts here.
Yeah,
People
I
you've
know.
shown the public.
Yeah, and this is what's fun. We can do shows on anything. It doesn't have to be anything serious all the time. But I want to thank all of you for coming, everybody, the audience.
Thank you for having us.
And you guys, and even Ted. Right? We might want to thank him. He hasn't done anything bad yet.
Well,
so,
thank you,
right.
Linda and Ted.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you
I
all.
know we're going to have ice cream afterwards. I mean, ice cream. Cake, chocolate cake. It says WTL 500. So, but anyway, we are getting about the end of the show, so, and definitely say thank you to CATV and all that they've done and everybody else here. So, anyway, this is the end of the 500th show. Keep tuned. You can see us do a little celebration, and we hope to see you next time on Walking Through Life when it's 501 shows. Bye-bye.
That means a kiss.
Oh.
Give the audience a dinosaur.
Some days I can move mountains, and other times I can't get it right. But every mountain that I'm climbing brings me one step closer. Raise my eyes to the morning, looking down a road that seems so rough. But if you ask me, I would tell you I still ain't had enough. Walking through